All right. Okay, here you go. But, what, we just want to ask him about how can what the opportunities for them there became after research and what the opportunities that they have.
Well, I believe with our program, it was use us to start for what we do with them in prison, because that's where it starts at with us. We don't wait till they get out. We started inside. With the Thinking for a Change program that we do in 5 different prisons. And we also do a life skill. And then we also have prison ministry, which we go in the evening and still make the connection with our daytime program of what we do for returning citizens. We don't call them ex-offenders, we call them returning citizens. In that process, like I said, the Thinking for a Change program is a 12-week program that we do with individuals in Clark County. And during that time, we develop what we call action plans, so that when they get out, we know what they're going to need, because we've already done an action plan with them. Are they going to need housing? Are they going to need employment? Are they going to need clothes? Are they going to need mental health? Are they going to need alcohol and drugs counseling? I mean, we're aware of all that even before they step out the door.
That's it?
Well, I mean, that's the answer to your first question.
Well,
And we also do other things. We advocate to the parole board for them. We go with a family member to speak to the parole board, let them know what type of agency support they'll have if they're released. We talk to the judges about judicial release and PC for individuals in Clark County. We advocate for them to be given a suspended sentence and sent to West Central, which is a therapeutic community, which works with them in all areas of their lives that they need. And then they come to us based on how much probation they're given.
Okay, that sounds good. So, that includes the opportunities for new direction in
That is the name of the program, Opportunities for New Direction.
direction and individual change.
No, OIC is the agency, and that stands for Opportunity for Individual Change.
Okay.
We changed our name about 5 years ago. It used to be Opportunity Industrialization Center.
Mm-hmm.
We changed it to Opportunities for Individual Change. That is the agency. Opportunities for New Direction is the program.
Right.
How
long is the program? How long is the program?
We track individuals that come in our program for up to a year.
Okay.
We track them up to a year, and that doesn't mean they can't come back after the year if they run into problems. But each individual that comes in our program, we track them for 1 year.
Okay, I got some questions.
Yes, sir.
To ask you. How do you describe your feelings about radical hospitality to returning citizens or ex-offenders returning from prison? How will you describe that? Your feelings?
Well, my feelings is I have real deep feelings, basically because I'm an ex-offender myself. And so my feelings go very deep in trying to help these young men and young women as they return to society. They help them to make the playing field level so that they can move on with their lives. We understand that, coming home from prison is not an easy thing, but we try to make it as easy as we possibly can. And I have very, very deep feelings for them on an individual basis, because I've been there, done that.
I know you didn't go to the workshop, but in what ways do you plan to use the practice of radical hospitality in your church, in your workplace, and in your community?
First of all, what is your definition of radical hospitality? Maybe if I have a better understanding of that.
Radical hospitality is actually going the extra mile.
Oh, that's
like,
okay. I understand.
I know most times people say to offer hospitality is that someone goes to church or go to the community and they welcome them in. But radical hospitality is doing things that go beyond your comfort zone. Doing extraordinary.
Well, I would believe, and if you check with anybody in the city of Springfield, they'll tell you that my radical hospitality is at a very high level, because whatever it takes for an individual to change their life, whatever help they need from me, they can get it. I'll go pick individuals up when they're getting out of prison. I've had individuals call me 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. They'd be at places they know they shouldn't be, and they don't have no way to get there. And I've gotten up out of my bed and went and picked them up and take them where they need to be. So my radical hospitality in the workplace is very high, and in my prison ministry, it is very high. Matter of fact, it is one of the top ministries that we have in our church, that's looked upon as being very successful in the way that we help people. Living in Springfield, Ohio, resources are, I don't want to use the word limited, but I think it kind of describes it. There's not as many resources there as there are in bigger cities. So we have to dig real deep in order to get the resources that some individuals returning from prison need. And we are willing to do that, whatever it takes.
Next question is, what do you think will rebuild broken relationships with ex-offenders, or we call them returning citizens, and their family, friends, and God?
Well, I think it goes in, if you're doing it from a priority standpoint, I think God certainly comes first. They've got to have God in their life in order for them to make the right decisions that they need to make. Number 2 is family. We tell any returning citizen in Springfield, whether it be male or female, you've got to make things right with your family. And I think you do that by showing them that you're really serious about changing your life. You're not trying to BS them. You really need them in your life. And you do whatever it takes to make that happen. And certainly getting the family together and all of you getting right with God is certainly the first and foremost thing that needs to be done. We all know that God is our salvation. He's our go-to person, and God can do what nobody else can do. I mean, it's okay to have a little confidence in man, but your full confidence should be in God. It should be in God, because God is the creator. He's the maker. He's the person that you look to for guidance, and he can direct you in a way that all of that other stuff will fall into place if you just put yourself in his hands.
And the last question, but not the least, are there any other tools you think the Christian community can utilize to change the thinking errors and negative behavior characteristics that they may have towards ex-offenders or returning citizens?
Well, I don't think that's only a church problem. I think that's a community problem also. And I think once it starts happening in the community, then it will go over into the churches. I think that old mindset of once a criminal, always a criminal, that needs to be removed from every aspect of life that we have that old thinking of, you know, that person ain't gonna never change. You know, because I take myself and I use myself as a perfect example. If people would have thought that way about me, where would I be now? You know, so I think that it starts in the community and it works its way, it works itself into the church. I don't think you can just start it in the church and work it to the community. It has to start in the community, work itself in the church, because the church people are a part of the community. And if it starts in the community, then it'll work its way to the church. But I just think that old way of thinking is not conducive to helping the returning citizens start a new life or do what is needed in order for them to become a productive member of society. Because the one thing about returning citizens and being one myself, highly removed from that position, is that rejection is probably the worst thing that can happen to them. And if they go to a church and they feel that the people there are looking at them in a different way or a different aspect, they're not going back to that church. They're not going back to no church because they're going to feel like that's the way every church is. So I think you have to start it in the community and work it into the churches. The community has to accept. The employers, businessmen, organizations. There's some organizations, when they go to them, their first thing they say, well, we don't work with ex-offenders. Well, why not? They're citizens just like the next person is. Mm-hmm. They made a mistake. You know, I'm a firm believer in every individual that's in prison. They were good people. They just made bad choices. Mm-hmm. And you can't continue to browbeat a person about the choices they make, because if we all admitted, we all have made some bad choices in our life. Some of us just ain't been caught.
That's good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You get the answers?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Got a question again?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Tell them how many years you've been out now. You've been out almost 40-something years.
I've been out 41 years.
Yep.
I've been in this business 25 years.
Yep.
I understand my role in what I need to do as far as helping offenders. I also understand that there's still certain things that I can't do, but that's okay, because God has made it possible for me to be able to help in other ways. And I'm very thankful that I brought God into my life, because until I did, I felt some of that same rejection that I see others get. But once I did that, things really started to open up for me, and I've been blessed and highly favored. And I hope I continue to be blessed and highly favored.
Okay. Mr. Mims, one good question.
Okay.
I've been out going on 4 years come December myself, okay. So I'm only about 1/10 of what you've done. But from day one that person steps out that prison gate, what's the critical time period? You know, some people say, oh, you know, if they don't get themselves together within 6 months, they're going to be back. Or you consider every day important as after you step out, or do you know what's critical as far as to get them?
The answer to your question, the most critical time period is the first 72 hours they're out. Because
I agree with it.
I speak on this a lot. I'm a firm believer in who's picking you up as to what your plans are.
Oh, yeah.
If you tell me your mother, who's a Christian woman, somebody from the church is picking you up, I'm ecstatic. But if you tell me your sister's boyfriend and a friend of yours is picking you up, I get concerned. Because before you get to I-70, which goes both ways, either way, whatever way you're going, I-70, I-75, before you get there, if you stick that joint of weed in your mouth, or you put that bottle up to your mouth, which you know if the wrong people are picking you up, they're going to have that, then you've already defeated yourself.
because now you're not job ready because you can't pass the drug test. Alcohol might be your trigger mechanism where you look at the girl and think of who she's been with since you've been locked up, want to put your hands on her. So those first 72 hours are very critical because that is what determines which direction you're going to go.
So really, if it's not a certain person that you would think should be qualified to pick them up, you would rather tell them, let the CO take you down to the Greyhound bus station and come on back.
I would rather say, let me pick you up.
Okay, well, I'm talking
because
about
that's what we do for Clark County people.
Yeah,
we pick them up. I pick them up. If they tell me, well, my brother and his girlfriend, no, I'll pick you up. You don't need call them and tell them they don't need to pick you up because that's a critical time.
Absolutely,
that's because the one word that I hate to hear on the inside is intentions. My intentions are. Well, when you like in London, when you walk down them steps of Madison, when you walk through that gate, your intentions automatically change.
Absolutely.
Because you're a free man now. You ain't got no structure in your life. You've got to develop some structure. Because you don't have no structure, you're going to go back to doing the same thing. I was fortunate. I developed my own structure before I came out. I knew when I walked out there in November 26, 1972, I knew that I would never go back to prison. I knew that. After doing 10 years, I knew that. Because I put it up here. And I kept it up there. And every day, I visited it up there. So I knew, I don't care what kind of scheme you got. I don't want to be involved.
Absolutely.
I'm not going back. I'm sorry. But you got to have that. We as people, Chaplain Bing, yourself, myself, all the agencies, churches, we can only do so much. If the person doesn't want to change, it doesn't matter what we do, they're not going to change.
Yep. So
they have to have a certain amount of changing ability up here and in here, in their heart, their head and their heart, to say, I've had enough.
Yep.
You got to have enough. See, if you don't have enough, eventually you're going back. If you don't have enough. I had enough. 10 years was enough for me. I didn't have to do another minute.
That's good.
and that's the way it is. I mean, like you said, you've been out 4 years. During that 4 years, you probably had some rough times.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And thought about, maybe I want to go back and do something. But because of what you developed up here, what you developed in here, and the people you surrounded yourself with, it didn't happen.
Right.
And so that's the key. That's the key. The first 72 hours, surrounding yourself with good people, good Christian people that are doing the right thing, getting in, and if you've got those substance abuse problems, getting into meetings and stuff, as soon as you get out, doing all the right things.
Continuing on what you started.
Right. What you started inside. Continuing the right type of thinking. Because thinking controls behavior. And if your thinking ain't right, your behavior ain't going to be right.
Oh, yeah.
You can't have one and not have the other. If you got the stinking thinking, then you're going to have the stinking thinking behavior. That's what it's going to be. It ain't going to change. You can't have bad thinking and think you're going to have good behavior. It doesn't happen like that.
Yep. And even when things don't necessarily go the way you thought they were going when you first get out,
you got to sit down and rethink them.
Rethink them. And always, and even when it's bad, you say, "I'd rather be here than be in there."
I think the expectations that individuals have coming out, they have to be realistic. They got to be realistic. You can't come out there on Monday and think you're going to be working by Friday. That's not realistic. And then when it doesn't happen, you want to be able to go back to doing what you were doing. Well, you didn't have your mind there to do the right thing from the beginning. And I think that's what the big problem is with the parole board. Parole board wrestles with decisions of that nature to say, should we let them out?
To justify their decisions.
Right. Okay, any other questions? You think, Andy?
I mean, but
We got about 20 minutes in here on this already,
That's
so
good.
that's good.
That's good. And anything else that you might do up there, you might need my help, feel free to call me. I apologize for not being at that. I wanted to be there. I had it on my calendar, but that happened, and I just couldn't pull myself to leave that hospital. And I'm glad I didn't, because they did have to be some big decisions made that afternoon, and I had to be there because I am a fire company, and so I had to be there. But anything that you might decide you want to do, another roundtable workshop or to speak to a group, give me a call. Give me a call, because you've been very good to me. You got me in the matter with my prison ministry, and I appreciate that, and I'm willing to help you do anything you want to do. I'll stay busy, though. I ain't gonna lie. I walk in here at 7:30 in the morning, and sometimes I don't walk out at 7:30 at night, and we get off at 5. But you got to go, like that question you asked, that's the reason I wanted you to clarify. You know, the work never stops.
No.
It never stops. You're continually trying to come up with new ideas to help individuals, because every individual is different.
Right.
Every individual is different, and you have to realize that, and you got to be able to juggle everything to try to help individuals accomplish whatever it is they're trying to accomplish.
Yep.
In the future, if you're, I mean, when things settle down, I mean, probably we can arrange for a conference. The churches here.
Well,
Springfield.
Captain Bing, I'm going to tell you.
Or maybe just.
I'm going to tell you,
talk to
these
them.
churches here, you're not going to get too much cooperation because they are all territorial. They're all very territorial. They don't like the idea of working together on anything. And so I would say this to you, and you know, it'd be a waste of time to even try to do it here. It would be a waste of time. That's just the way they are. Now I'm sure that some of them want to do something, but nobody wants to step forward and take the lead. But if they ever do, you'll be the first one to contact. If we can get at least 5 of them,
Hey, I like
and
that.
believe me, I'll give it a try. Because I know our church would be the lead on it, you know. And if we get at least 5 more churches, certainly I'll give you a call and we'll put it together and get it done. Because it's needed. It's needed. It's a need. It's a need.
That's a good way to cut this off.